She's 9, but will be 10 this year. The good things. I know she loves our kids, is a good mother as far as loving them goes. I've brought this up to Mike and he says I'm being crazy, but I'm not. There is no lineup. There are no men out the door. I'm sitting in the old, lonely, dusty closet. Ain't nobody here. Maybe a closet was not the best analogy. So hello everyone, and welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. I'm Jess 𝘠𝘠𝘭𝘠𝘠. So chances are, you're probably passerby, you're probably new. One of my favorite things to do on this channel is read insanely toxic Reddit stories. So that's what we're gonna be doing today! So there's an Instagram account I follow on Instagram called Toxic Reddit, which curates some of the most insane, toxic, crazy stories from across various subreddits. So we're gonna be checking out some of those today. You should go give them a follow if you're into these insane Reddit stories. So everybody just cozy on up, settle in, hopefully you're staying cool, and let's just dive right in with the first story. My 29 male girlfriend, 29 female, has a hard time acting like a girlfriend. How do I address this? My girlfriend Rain and I have been in a relationship for a few months. We didn't get together in the most conventional way because she was my wife's friend and we fell in love. My wife Rose and I lost that excitement in our relationship. My girlfriend and I got that excitement and unfortunately we started an affair. I regret it deeply. We should have told her right away. We did end up confessing, and unfortunately my wife did not take it well. Fast forward a couple months. Rose did a great job at, well, being a wife, and I took that for granted. She made sure we spent quality time, did nice gestures, a great mother to our child. With Rain, she doesn't help at all with the baby and just sits there. To clarify, the baby I have with Rose, we have joint custody, and now I'm staying with Rain, and she doesn't do... I've asked and she complains. Mind you, she also hasn't seen her child in months. She had a child with her ex-husband and makes zero effort to see her child. She's so indifferent about it. It's crazy. But perhaps worst of all is she goes to the club all the time and doesn't let me know. She will come home at 3 to 4 a.m. and it annoys me. Meanwhile, I come home from work and cooked and cleaned. I don't mind her going out, but all the time? She needs to at least act like a partner. It seems like she just prioritizes fun. So you have an affair with someone, and then you're surprised when the person who agreed to having an affair with you turns out to be not such a good person. You know what they like to say, right? I kind of believe that this guy completely deserves this, so... Moving on. How can I, 39 male, better communicate to my stay-at-home wife, 39 female, that she can't slack off on her share of the housework during pregnancy? Too long didn't read. Wife is pregnant with our 7th child, and no longer keeping up with the housework to an acceptable level, and I do not know how to get through to her. No. Throwaway count because my wife uses Reddit quite a bit, and I'd like someone biased advice. First, the good things. I know she loves our kids, is a good mother as far as loving them goes. The kids are at least clean-fed, though much less healthy than I'd like. And our sex life is okay, all things considered, 1 to 3 times per week. When we decided to become parents, my wife and I agreed that we would make it work on a single income. I would be the breadwinner, and she would stay home to care for the house and kids. However, a few months back, she became pregnant with our 7th child, and I no longer feel like she can contributing fairly to our family arrangements. I've tried talking to her several times, but nothing changes. I have made many sacrifices so we can continue to support our family on a single income, but she seems to have slacked off to the point of unsustainability ever since entering her 2nd trimester of pregnancy. Some examples. I frequently come home to her lying down on the couch while 2 of the toddlers, 2 and 3, are throwing food everywhere or getting into things, ruining the living room carpet, or making messes in other areas of the home. She'll often fall asleep at night before finishing kitchen cleanup. She's been buying more easy-bake, frozen dinners for the family instead of cooking real food. The kids snack all day and are getting way too much screen time on both iPads and regular TV, despite me asking her to spend more time reading to them, and go back to preparing scheduled meals. She isn't as involved in their schoolwork. The younger kids regularly get into things like craft supplies and make a huge mess. Things like sweeping, mopping, and vacuuming don't seem to be done regularly anymore, and I often get frustrated with the mess and end up doing it myself after working a very long day. I should clarify that her pregnancy hasn't had any notable high-risk factors that would warrant her resting more, but when I come in, she's often lying down or sitting down instead of tending to high-priority messes around the house. She will prepare food for the toddlers, but lets the older kids mostly feed themselves for meals other than dinner. She does keep up with the dishes, but recently bought paper plates / cups / bowls, which adds to our trash burden and weekly grocery cost. I'm not sure how to more clearly let her know that this isn't okay. Another new baby is going to add even more, and her slacking off and spending so much time sitting down before the baby's arrival is making me very worried about her ability to keep things up to standard during that time. She continually tells me she's in survival mode, but I've told her that I'm doing my share, working long hours at a very high-stress job, and expect her to at least handle her half. I don't expect a completely spotless house or homemade meals for every single meal, but she needs to at least reach a baseline of quality, and the current situation isn't acceptable. Has anyone dealt with something similar? I'm struggling to communicate in a way that gets through to her and motivates her to go back to handling things better. I almost wish she'd go back to work, because then I'd feel like she was contributing more fairly, but I'm not sure what kind of job she'd be able to get after being home with our kids for 10 years. She has recently tried to bring in some income with freelance remote work, but it hasn't worked out in a way that's made a difference so far. How can I motivate her or better communicate my frustration about this? This isn't okay. Having 7 children is your problem. I'm gonna be so real. It's how many kids you have. She must be run so dry from over 10 years of having to raise children. So it doesn't really surprise me that, like, she's slacking off, because she's probably so burnt out from all that she's had to do over the past few years that, like, bro, no grip on reality. How to inform 29 male, this woman 29 female, that she's not my girlfriend? I'm in a peculiar situation. This woman we will call Rachel is under the impression that we are in a relationship. This has been going on for 4 years now. 4 years! I have never asked her to be my girlfriend, but there was a miscommunication at some point. Now, I won't lie, it played into it a lot, and I shouldn't have. I did all the things couples do, but I never asked her to be my girlfriend at all, or referred to her as my girlfriend. I didn't stop her from calling me her boyfriend or wanting to celebrate her anniversary. In my mind, however, I was single. So when I hear her ask about marriage or moving in together, it makes no sense. I figured she would one day realize I never officially asked her, and then realize it before things get out of hand, but she never did. Everything was fine until about a month ago I met this beautiful woman. There's this food truck that isn't far from my house. I asked her for her number, and we have hit it off. Things are getting serious, and I'm going to ask her to be my girlfriend soon. Before I do that, I need to address the elephant in the room with Rachel. And then there's an edit. For clarification purposes, I was wrong. I'm remorseful and disgusted with my actions. I know people think I'm not remorseful, but that's not true at all. What I did was disgusting. 4 years of straight up torturing Rachel. Poor Rachel. Let her celebrate anniversaries, treated her like a girlfriend, but just never told her, hey, we're not actually a couple. At least the clarification kind of makes them realize that, like, yeah, they were in the wrong, but still, it's really shocking that someone would even think, as they're typing this out, like, how am I in the wrong here? My 25 female boyfriend's 26 male sister is weirdly obsessed with him. He's taking her on holiday, and I don't know how to convince him. It is super weird. I have been dating my boyfriend, Mike, for just under 18 months. Our relationship has become really serious. We've even started to discuss things like marriage, children, etc. We moved from England to Wales about 6 months ago because I got a job opportunity that required us to relocate. He was able to convert to working from home, so has stayed employed by his old company. We now live about 70 miles away from our hometown. Because it's so far, we rarely visit home. Maybe once every 6 weeks or so. Whenever we visit, we stay with Mike's parents, and every time we go, his sister is incredibly obsessed with Mike and won't leave him alone. It's to the point where it's really weird and almost like she has some weird romantic feelings for him. I've brought this up to Mike, and he says I'm being crazy, but I'm not. For example, she will snuggle up to him on sofa, so I'll have to sit somewhere else. She will ask for him to take her shopping to places that I don't like. She'll make him take her to restaurants, and they'll have fancy meals together. It is so weird how she treats him like a boyfriend. They have a holiday to Spain booked for the summer holiday to the town where Mike grew up. They booked this before we were dating, but it is just them two going and it makes me feel extremely uncomfortable. I first asked for him to change the booking so I could come along as well. I said I would pay for the extra, obviously. He said he contacted the travel agents, but they weren't able to change the bookings anymore and that they couldn't book a separate package for me because the hotel was booked up. Yesterday, I told him that it is really weird that he wants to spend 2 weeks alone with her in a foreign country, and when I said this to him, he blew up at me and kicked me out of the house. Like, genuinely kicked me out of the house for just questioning him about this, which has made me feel it's even more weird than I thought. We've ended up having a huge argument, like the biggest we've ever had. And now I'm considering booking a separate hotel nearby the one they're staying at, so I can keep an eye on her. I have been texting him and ringing him and he hasn't answered or responded to me at all. I don't understand how he doesn't see this is weird, especially considering how obsessed she is with him, as I mentioned earlier. It makes me feel sick. And I don't know what to do. How do I express to him that this is not normal? How do I show him there is something weird about how his sister treats him? So someone asked how old is the sister? And then they said she's 9 but will be 10 this year. And so, you're okay. This is insane. So a literal child loves her brother. And they are going to have this nice little vacation together. This whole post, I'm thinking like, okay, are they both adults? Like, what's the real story here? What's the full situation? She's 9! 9. A child. You are jealous of a 9-year-old. You are making a relationship a 9-year-old has with her brother. Weird! This cannot be real. Something's deeply wrong with this person. If this is real, like, seriously, get some help. I, 28 male, was manipulated into cheating on my wife, 28 female. How do we move forward through our marriage? That can happen. Hey Reddit, I'm going through a tough time in my marriage. It all started because recently, I entered a depression. My wife and I both have very demanding jobs. Recently, I had a new project that had me working longer hours, and that is what started my depression. Now, going through my depression, I started confiding in my coworker about how I was feeling. I thought I could trust her as friend, but she knew I was in a vulnerable state. She took advantage of my state, and this led to an affair. My wife found out, and we are going to counseling Monday, but this month our marriage is on the ropes. I'm trying to get her to understand my depression and how low my mental health was, but she doesn't want to hear it. Cheating can never be a mistake, okay? Cheating is a choice. So even if someone's being nice to you, you cannot be manipulated into cheating. Cheating is an intentional decision. So this story is insane, you're dumb, and I hope that they ended up divorced. Thank you and good night. So this one comes from r/men's rights. I didn't know this was a subreddit. I hate being a man. It is the source of my problems. Male 26. Life is going fine otherwise. Have a good education and a good life. Have hobbies and interests. Live a functional life. Except I'm single and hate being a man. Here is the thing. I have never been in a relationship. In part because it is rigged. Women are the employers, men are the job seekers. Men have to do all the work and take self-esteem hits. Women can just sit around and twiddle their thumbs and receive offers and valued and worship day in and day out for existing. As a woman, I can say I've never had that happen, but okay. Because of this, men end up having to settle for losing deals, which I have refused. I am an educated professional who overcame several challenges to get where I am, who is good with kids and has not slept around because I want a life partnership with a special someone. Another educated professional who has not slept around and is also good with kids or something equivalent. I could have had that if I were a woman. But instead, since I am cursed into being a man, I denied that. Rather, I'm expected to be with someone who makes less due to male-provide role, is worse with kids, has worse domestic skills, and has slept around and given her best years to a bunch of frat guys, and now wants a good, stable guy. How am I supposed to be happy in such a relationship, knowing I am being exploited? I bring a lot to the table and I deserve what I put in. If I were lucky enough to get to be a woman, this would not be a problem. I'd get valued for existing, have a lineup of offers, and could get a man who brings more to the table than I do. I could also easily be the a-hole who sleeps around with the hot guys when young and then marries the good stable guy, getting the best of both worlds, while most guys struggle with loneliness in their formative years and are stuck with a losing deal. If I were a woman, I would also have less trouble finding a job, could always get someone to take me out when I'm lonely, and would have a closer friend network, and would just be valued and loved more.
You better stop!
Meanwhile, I'm expecting to be willing to date women who earn less and have slept around because of how rigged life is against men and how shallow women are. But women, though, only want attractive tall white guys with six-packs and are more shallow when it comes to looks. They'd rather bang Chad/Fred guys as long as possible until they can settle for a lonely guy and extract a winning deal. I'd rather take a non-existent 30% wage gap pay cut to become a woman. I mean, I can just marry up and get it back, lol. Suffering while dating and seeing how rigged life is against men is the reason I've developed these thoughts. I see who red pill, incel, whatever is accurate. Everyone I know says I am a good person. I have a good career, I take care of myself, I have hobbies and interests, have good domestic skills, and I'm good with kids. Physical pain, as we all know, is nothing compared to emotional pain, and I'd rather take some physical pain for better emotional well-being. I can tell you, objectively speaking, as a woman, this is not true. There is no lineup. There are no men out the door. I'm sitting in a old, lonely, dusty closet. Ain't nobody here. Maybe a closet was not the best analogy. I'm going to tell you that this is objectively 100% false, and if you are a person who is watching this video and you are in this mindset, don't buy it. The thing is, a lot of what he listed is actually human traits and not gendered traits. I've always hated how people gender everything, but really, this is not about gender. This is about traits that are common to humankind that make you feel isolated and different from everyone because we don't really have the conversations necessary to get better from these things. So this guy is clearly very lonely, very bitter, and it would seem quite a bit of an incel is really the only way to describe this. This hatred towards women, this belief that things are rigged towards women in their favor is 100% not true. So this is insane. Everybody's struggling with something, and it's beyond for women just, oh, cramps and pregnancy. Like, everybody has their own issues, everybody has their own problems, and this is just such an unfair way of thinking, and it's definitely not true. Okay, that last post, was insane, and I think it's time to stop. People are truly a different breed on Reddit. I say this at the end of every video, but it's insane. So, if you don't want to end your night here and you want to keep watching some more Reddit videos, I have a playlist down below linking to all my other Reddit videos I've made thus far. I hope you all enjoyed the very toxic energy we created tonight. Thank you all so much for watching, and hopefully I will see you all here next time.